Here's the lineup for race 2 for the Michelin Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Craig Baird off the pole, Daniel Gaunt from 2, Johnny Reid lines up out of position 3, Mitch Cunningham from 4. A road 3 start for Scott Harrison alongside Shane McKillen. Then we go back to Simon McLennan, the first of the 996s, and Simon Evans, Mike Morton and Mark Madron from row number 5. And completing the lineup, Paul Kelly and the Paul Kelly Motor Company 997. Daniel Gaunt, the championship leader in the VNC Cocktails Porsche, extended out to a 103-point lead after race number 1, which was won by Craig Baird from Gaunt, Johnny Reid in 3rd. Craig Baird back into form and having a lot better luck than he did have at the start of the championship, on board with Johnny Reid in the Ray Glass 997. Concentrating before the race start, this race scheduled over 12 laps. Joined in commentary by Mark Pedersen. Mark, beautiful sunny conditions in total contrast to race 1 where it was very, very cold out there on track.
Yeah, you couldn't really get much difference between the two races, but you can't help but think it's just going to be status quo with Johnny Reid, of course, taking the battle of Daniel Gaunt and Craig Baird. If he can get off the line, which we pretty certainly will do, I think it's going to play into his favour. Well,
he made a drags to start in race number 1. Lights to go out there on the rev limiters down towards turn number 1. Oh, big creep there from Mitch Cunningham. He'll split the front row, but that looked to be a big jump from the Cunningham Construction Porsche.
Yeah, if you call that a big jump, it was huge, wasn't it? He was just about past the race leader before the race turned green. So what's going to happen here? He's going to get some kind of penalty, probably a time penalty, maybe a drive-through. But either way, Johnny Reid, who's now into 2nd place, has got ahead of Daniel Gaunt.
Yeah, Johnny Reid on board with him down the back. So it's Baird, Cunningham, Gaunt, Reid. So Gaunt has stayed ahead. Just the battles further back. Mike Morton going through Mark Madron in the 996. So Craig Baird, we know he's very, very good on cold tyres.
Yeah, Mitch Cunningham could be the spoiler in this because, to be honest, he actually got no right being where he is at the moment because he got that jump start. The penalty will come, but all he's going to do is hold the freight train up, and these guys behind him will become frustrated. It's going to work in Craig Baird's favour because he's just going to pull away and disappear into the wilderness. The battle was for 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Well, 12 laps. The first race was won by Craig Baird, set the fastest lap of the race at a 1:02.214.
Right, there's the penalty. You see the black and white flag that's advising someone in the field that they've been up to no good. And I can only guess it is for Mitch Cunningham.
I don't think we need to guess. Oh, he's just run it off the exit of that curve. You can see how big that drop-off is off the exit curve of 2.
He's shown a great deal of aggression for someone that's got that time penalty. But once again, if it's a time penalty, all they do is add it to the race score. So, you know, he'll probably just keep battling away and limiting the damage.
So Daniel Gaunt trying to find a way around Cunningham. Johnny Reid back there in the 4th position. Scott Harrison 5th, Shane McKillen 6th. Simon McLennan, the first of the 996s, in 7th place overall. I think Simon Evans got a very good start because he's a fair way behind McLennan as we're back on board with Reid through the infield up towards the hairpin. Some beautiful sunny conditions in front of a big crowd. Oh, Mike Morton off. Mike Morton's off in the Outlaws Bar 997.
Now, there's no smoke or steam coming off the front, so maybe he's just gone in and perhaps kissed the tyres. If it'd been anything major, we see all the steam and debris because at the very front of the cars is where all the radiator system is, so maybe a mechanical issue or just a very soft off.
Craig Baird's already got a 1.6 second advantage over Mitch Cunningham. Daniel Gaunt right behind Johnny Reid. Scott Harrison trying to stay with them in the early laps. Here's the peak antifreeze replay. What happened to Mike Morton? He's gone skating off and just nudges the tyre wall. As Daniel Gaunt looks to the inside of Cunningham down to turn number 4.
Now, the reason why did nothing come of that, Jamie, it's just the left, yeah, correct. You see the yellow flags, that's for the Mike Morton car, which is probably still stranded there. They'll give them 2 or 3 laps notification. If they decide not to remove that car from the tyres, then it'll be green racing again.
Johnny Reid ride with Daniel Gaunt. So Morton is back up and running. So no safety car, Johnny Reid.
Now, we saw these two guys, Mitch Cunningham and Daniel Gaunt, previous round at Invercargill. We saw the frustrations on Daniel Gaunt by getting held up. In the last lap of one of the races, he actually removed Mitch Cunningham from the race, got a drive-through penalty for his efforts. I reckon he would have learned from that, and I don't think he's going to repeat that somehow.
Well, he's got to be careful because Johnny Reid's right enough underneath his rear wing. And just see Craig Baird, he's got a 2.2 second advantage. Fastest lap of the race, a 1:02.593 set by Craig Baird as they work their way through the heat haze here in Timaru.
Interesting watching that sequence of corners and then having a look at the camera view from the back, how long Johnny Reid's tail lights are on for, so they must be trailer braking all the way around the corner, just helping to set that car up on the exit.
Well, he's got 103 points to try and make up on Daniel Gaunt's championship lead, and he's going to lose a further 6 points here with the positions on the racetrack.
They're so busy, aren't they? They just never get a chance to have a rest around here.
Wonderful race cars. They're just so aggressive. They carry so much attitude. Johnny Reid chasing down Gaunt, Cunningham with that 5-second penalty, but Craig Baird is just literally on a Sunday afternoon drive.
He doesn't have to do anything anymore than win the race. He doesn't have to abuse the car because he's not getting challenged by anybody. It'll just be a race because we've got a reverse grid race coming up later on this afternoon, and they want to save the best tyre setup they can for that. So you just can't help but think it's coming very easy for Craig at this stage.
Gaunt right with Cunningham. Can he get a run? He's going to look to the outside, down to 4 switches, back to the inside.
Now watch for the crossover. We've seen this many times already this weekend. No, too far back.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
Didn't get a very good run under brakes there into turn 4.
I think part of the reason for that, Jamie, he couldn't make his mind up which way he was going to go around Mitch. Was he going to do the left or the right? By the time he made his mind up, they're already too far into the braking zone.
Craig Baird was half a second a lap quicker last time by. They're on lap number 6. Reid climbing the curbs. Cunningham's got good car speed. Other than that 5-second penalty, he's actually having a pretty strong race.
He's having a very strong race, and you can't deny that. First couple of laps looked a little bit scrappy until the tyres come up. Obviously exactly where he wants the car now, and circulating every bit as quick as the 2 guys behind him. But he ran out 4 or 5 car lengths behind, so he's not being defensive.
Oh, he's attacking the curbs into turn number 1. All 4 wheels are just about off the deck.
Yeah, I think we've gone past attacking, and you'd probably say mothering the curbs at this stage.
On board with Reid, not quite close enough to Daniel Gaunt, who's right with Cunningham. He just sacrificed a little bit of speed.
Oh, look down the inside. No.
He's not close enough. He's just trying to force Cunningham into a mistake. Former Toyota Racing Series champion.
Mitch Cunningham is very quick off turn 4, which is into the back straight. So unless Daniel has got something else in his arsenal for a pass in this particular part of the track, I dare say that Mitch Cunningham looks in a strong position, but keep in mind he's got a time penalty which will filter him back through down the grid. Yeah,
well, Gaunt, he'll be mindful of that. The team will be on the radio as Johnny Reid gives him a bit of a touch-up. He's done a radiator.
Yeah, too hard. We've said before how fragile these cars are. Unfortunately,
just
game
the
over.
Slightest of touches, and there is Johnny Reid.
Sorry, Jamie, he's got to be careful here, because if that's putting debris on one of the rear tyres, even the front right in here, this could be dangerous. Is he going to haul the car up?
He's gone off into the infield. He had a similar problem at Terentonga in testing and put the car off. Oh, Johnny Reid, he will be devastated. That was just the slightest of touches.
Just in that, there's one key spot on these cars that when they hit it, must move the bumper or something over, and unfortunately just dislodges the radiators, and it's game over for him.
Here's the Peak replay, ironically sponsored by Peak Antifreeze. Just as instant as that, right into the back bumper, and game over for Johnny Reid. Advantage, huge advantage to Daniel Gaunt, already with a 103-point lead. I was just about to say before that, Mark, that Daniel doesn't need to do anything silly here because Johnny was behind him. He's his main championship contender. At worst, he's going to lose a handful of points to Craig Baird. But, you know, Craig had 134 to make up at the beginning of the weekend as we look at our leading 996 car of Simon McLennan.
You're right, and I'm pretty certain Daniel would have learned from his incident with Mitch last weekend. Of course, it was exactly the same scenario. Johnny Reid was in the pits and retired, and Daniel really didn't have to do anything, but he still took the battle to Mitch Cunningham. But we say McLennan is actually doing a very good job in the 996, staying out of trouble and circulating. If I'm not correct, he's actually winning that portion of the championship.
Yeah, he is leading the championship. He very nearly won it last season, but Hugh Gardner just pipped him at the final post at Taupo. Craig Baird laps Mike Morton coming back after that early race off. Cunningham still holds off Daniel Gaunt. So Cunningham with a 5-second penalty. That would drop him, well, if he can keep up the pace, he'll still possibly finish ahead of Scott Harrison, who's 9 seconds out of the race lead, and just on 5 seconds behind Mitch Cunningham. So Cunningham, even with the 5-second penalty, could salvage a 4th place finish.
And that'll explain why he is in such a hurry to get ahead of Harrison here, because like you say, even with a penalty, good chance he's going to finish in 3rd place on the podium.
Yeah, well, the next car back is Shane McKillen.
Now Mike Morton may become part of this. No, smart enough to move out of the way and let these two guys continue.
Gaunt right there with Cunningham. Gaunt doesn't want to make the same mistake that Johnny Reid just did to him. He's got an inside run here, has he?
No, I think you'll find that Mitch is going to back himself here. He knows he's strong in this particular part of the track. Daniel having a look down the inside. Mitch making no attempt whatsoever to cover him. And that's why he just knows that he's got so much more car speed off turn 4 than Daniel. It's a good move, mate, especially when you back yourself that far out.
Craig Baird's just slowed his pace up in front by a second a lap. And the gap is 4.6 seconds with 3 to go. Daniel Gaunt. Well, Craig Baird is in with a chance here of moving into second in the championship with Johnny Reid, who's now had 2 DNFs, which is just absolutely crucial at the halfway point of the Motorsport New Zealand Premier Race Championship Series and the Michelin Tyres Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge.
Craig Baird just backing off there, just doing enough to win him inside of
Simon Evans.
Simon just gets out of the way, realises he's not part of this battle, so he just decided to contend it at all.
Yeah, I think Simon's got some mechanical dramas. He was a long way back. I don't know if he had an off in the early laps, but he certainly lost a whole heap of ground to Simon McLennan in the battle of the 996s, because Mark Madron's actually second in class, up ahead of Simon Evans. So this could be very, very interesting for the championship. Craig Baird may be back up into second in the points behind Daniel Gaunt, going from 188 points down, probably as close to maybe 111 to 115 points behind.
Now, Simon, is he going to pull out of the way? Yep. Yeah, good. That's actually a very smart drive, young man. It's out of the way. Now, for the last couple of laps, Mitch Cunningham's car looks very ragged through 4, 5 and 6, and it's allowing Dan just to get on the back, but that Daniel Gaunt's car doesn't look like he's got enough car speed even to capitalise should something happen there with Mitch Cunningham.
Craig Baird's got the headlights on, looking for his second consecutive victory of the weekend.
Oh, here we go. He's gone wide. Mitch Cunningham outbraked himself. Daniel Gaunt inside. Got it. This is the battle I'm looking forward to here. We know Mitch Cunningham has got a lot more car speed turn 4. What can he do? He's a little bit too far back to maybe take advantage of that speed that he's got. Either way, it's going to be interesting.
So the mistake down into turn number 1 for Mitch Cunningham gives second place to Daniel Gaunt.
Watch for the crossover here. He's got a bit of car speed right now to the left. What's Daniel going to do? Defend it? Unless Mitch can do something now, Jamie, I think he's going to start pulling away from these sequence of corners.
Not quite quick enough, Mitch Cunningham. Again, it's all about track position, and Cunningham making the mistake on the run down to 1. Just maybe pinch the rear brakes.
Yeah, something here. I was just making comment before. You could just see a couple of laps earlier, it was just getting a little bit ragged in a few corners. Maybe the tyres are past the use-by date, and that allowed Dan to get through.
So the last lap board out for Craig Baird in the Mad Butcher number 1, chased by Daniel Gaunt, his Triple X teammate. Mitch Cunningham, the first of the International Motorsport Porsches. A DNF for Johnny Reid, crucial for the championship. It's really going to put a dent in his championship aspirations. Advantage really to Daniel Gaunt. It's going to be an interesting points mix going into the third and final race of the weekend. Gaunt driving away here from Cunningham. Cunningham might have been in tyre trouble, really trying to force the issue in those mid-race laps.
But saying that, he's still going to get forced an issue because the Harrison car is only 3 seconds back. So, of course, when you apply the penalty, he's actually going to drop back to the 4th position.
So Simon McLennan, 6th on the racetrack, leading 996 in the New World Metro Wellington car. But it's all about Craig Baird in race number 2. Doing the job, and he is clawing back into Daniel Gaunt's championship lead. Could very well be second at the end of this race. Through to turn 8 for the final time. The multiple championship winning Craig Baird takes the victory in race number 2. A massive advantage over Daniel Gaunt, who finishes second to maintain his championship lead. Craig Baird, the victor here at Timaru. Looking back for the battle in 996, it'll be Simon McLennan, and he's going to head home Paul Kelly, who started from the rear of the grid. McLennan will cross the line in 6th, and the first 996 home, Metro New World Porsche. So here's the results for race 2. Craig Baird, 2 out of 2 for the weekend. Daniel Gaunt maintaining his championship lead with second. Mitch Cunningham in third, but carrying a 5-second time penalty that'll drop him behind Scott Harrison. Shane McKillen 5th, Simon McLennan 6th, first 996.